Hi everyone, I'm Kat and welcome to my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. So today I'm going to be bringing you a review on some products which, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, it's probably not surprising I'm doing a review on them. And these are the brand new Ilia eyeshadow palettes, and I had to pick up both of them because I don't know, I didn't have a good reason for picking up both of them other than I really wanted to try both of them and share them with you. So I have this one here, which is the Cool Nudes palette, and I have this one here, which is the Warm Neutrals palette. And I'm wearing this one on my eyes today. I'm going to show you how I got the eye look that I currently have. I'm also going to be inserting a clip of me using the Cool Nudes palette and doing an eye look with those. I'm going to show you swatches, really give you all my thoughts on these palettes. So if you like how that sounds, stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my non-toxic, cruelty-free content. Okay, so when I saw that Ilia came out with these new eyeshadow palettes, I knew I had to have them. So I did try out the original Ilia eyeshadow palette. I have one of them here. This is the Prima eyeshadow palette. And although it's nice, I honestly don't reach for it very often because I've just found that there are a lot better eyeshadows in Non-Toxic Beauty. So when these came out though, they just look so beautiful and I was like, I have to try them out. I have to see if they're better or not. And also Ilia was releasing them in Sephora, so they're going to be competing with the Aether Beauty palettes. They're also available at Credo. They're probably going to be available at like all the regular clean beauty retailers, probably like the Detox Market. Of course, they're also available on Ilia's website as well. First off, with these eyeshadow palettes, you get a really large mirror, which is super convenient. I actually took this eyeshadow here, the Warm palette, with me when I was traveling to China, which, by the way, if I seem a little bit subdued, it is because I'm still suffering from jet lag. The jet lag going to China was pretty okay. I got a really bad migraine when I was traveling to China, but the actual like tiredness, I got over it really quickly. Coming back, I just feel like I've been hit with like a bag of bricks all the time. It's really rough. I'm not doing as well coming back this direction. So I'm a little low energy. That's what's going on. These eyeshadow palettes are cruelty-free, gluten-free, vegan, and talc-free. So really great formula. Part of what intrigued me about these eyeshadow palettes is they have fewer shimmers than most eyeshadow palettes I've encountered. So if you notice here in the Warm Nudes, this shade and this shade are the only two shimmers in the palette. The other four shades are matte, and most eyeshadow palettes have more shimmers than mattes. The nice thing about having a lot of mattes is it really allows you to get these blended, built up eyeshadow looks. If you look at conventional beauty YouTubers and watch like tutorials on how to do eyeshadow looks, you'll notice they keep adding and adding and adding and adding more matte eyeshadow shades, and that's how they get those really blended looks. And so having more matte shadows allows you to achieve that kind of look. The Cool Nude palette is also the same general idea with only two shimmers, and then the other four shadows in this palette are all mattes. So to start with, I'm super impressed. They took what was a not so great formula and then they knocked it out of the park. These eyeshadows are really good. I was not expecting it because I wasn't as impressed by the original ones, but I've been so impressed by all the Ilia releases lately. Like, their releases have been so solid recently that I'm kind of not surprised. It just makes me so happy to see that improvement. The metallics in these eyeshadows, as you can see on my eyes, are very metallic. They're up there with the Clove and Hallow eyeshadows, with Mother Bear's handmade eyeshadows, with the Aether Beauty metallics. Like, they perform. And the matte shadows are really pigmented, but they also blend really easily. So basically, they're the best kind of eyeshadows, and they have very minimal fallout too, which is quite impressive. I've been using more loosely packed eyeshadow brushes recently, and those brushes for me tend to knock up a lot of pigment, but with these eyeshadows I'm not having that happen, which is telling me that they're really firmly pressed. Also, they wear pretty well on me throughout the day. I have hooded oily eyelids, which is the combination that is death to most eyeshadows. But when I put these on with a primer, they really do a pretty good job of staying in place and not moving around, not creasing too much. They will crease some, But I really have noticed the more and more I wear eyeshadows that some just wear longer on me than others, and these definitely hold up quite well. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch the two palettes for you. Here are the shades from the Warm Nude palette swatched on my arm. I'm not the best at swatches, but the main thing you want to take away from swatches anyway is the shades, because eyeshadows really do not swatch the way they perform on the eyelids necessarily. But what you can see is the metallics are quite metallic, they're really catching the light, and you are getting a pigmentation from the mattes. I will say though that this eyeshadow palette really is quite warm toned, so if you don't like warm toned eyeshadows, I would not recommend this palette. They definitely lean warm toned. You're not going to be able to get a very neutral look using this palette. But I think at the same point though, they are quite wearable, at least for me. I did use this reddish shade today, but if you wanted a more everyday look, I think if you removed that shade and didn't utilize it, you could really get a warm but pretty natural look. That red shade is more for fun, but I'm glad that they included it because it really allows you to build up and get a bold eyeshadow look. But it's still more wearable than at least to me, than something like a blue eyeshadow or a green eyeshadow. It's a good way to have a little bit of fun, but not be too outside of the box and still be quite wearable. Below the Warm Nude palette, I swatched the Cool Nude palette. This shimmer down here is not quite as shimmery as the one over here. So one of the shimmers is not quite shimmery. It's a deep purple shimmer, and that's kind of a hard shade to do. So it's not quite as reflective, but I also don't know if it was really metallic, what exactly you do with a super metallic dark purple shimmer. The matte shades are much cooler tone, they're more purpley leaning. But the one thing I will say about these two palettes is one is very warm toned and the other one is very cool toned. There's not really a neutral palette. So if you're someone that likes very neutral shades, you don't really have a good option. You kind of have one extreme or the other. I really like warm toned eyeshadows, but I think the purples and kind of cranberry shades in the Cool Nudes palette will be really fun for fall. Like that'll be perfect for those fall kind of cranberry eye looks. I mean, I also like doing fall warm toned eye looks, but I really will enjoy using the cool toned palette, especially for fall. And I'm really happy to see that because there aren't a lot of cool toned eyeshadow options in Non-Toxic Beauties. If you really are into those shades, this gives you a solid option. Overall, what do I think of these palettes? If you can't tell, I really like them. I think they're really good quality. I think for the price, they're really good. They're really great for traveling because you get a good selection of shades. You get a nice big mirror. It's a very manageable size though. It's not too big. Like the Aether Beauty eyeshadow palette's too big. I don't travel with it. Same thing with the Honest Beauty palette. I do travel with the Clove and Hallow palette because that's a more compact size, but I like that this has a mirror because I've been traveling in situations where sometimes there's not a great mirror or you need to get in front of a window because the lighting in the bathroom is really bad, but then you don't have a mirror to use. So having a nice large mirror is always handy. I know it's not the best for recycling. As much as I try and be more mindful about things to the environment, having a mirror is just nice. I would recommend these. They're also cruelty-free, they're vegan, they're available at Sephora. I'm not sure if they're available in stores in all Sephoras. You can always check on your online at Sephora to see if it's in store. I do know they are carrying them online. I know you guys always ask, how do I rank all my eyeshadows? Because you guys know I try a lot of eyeshadows and you like to know kind of where I rank palettes with respect to other ones. I love my Aether Beauty eyeshadow palettes, but these ones have more mattes, which as much as I love a whole bunch of shimmers, having more mattes, to me, I feel like I can create more diversity in my eye looks. When I have a whole bunch of shimmers, but I still have the same transition shades I'm having to use, then I get kind of boxed in with how my looks look. And it might be my own fault and it might be because I'm not that creative with my eyeshadow looks, but having more transition shades I find to be really helpful. With my Clove and Hallow eyeshadow palette, you also have 6 shades like the Ilia, but only 2 of them are matte. Only these 2 right here. Which these are very warm tones, so you end up with very bold looks using this eyeshadow palette. You can use this shade in as your transition shade if you apply it really lightly and blend it a lot. But if you use this shade, your look is going to go very warm toned, very orange. You do have an inner corner highlight. That's the one drawback with with the two Ilia palettes is none of the shades on my fair skin will work as inner corner highlights. So I really am left without an inner corner highlight. But for some reason recently, I haven't been applying inner corner highlights. I don't have a good explanation as to why, but for some reason, I've just been doing very much like one eyeshadow looks. I'm just doing it over my lid, blending into my crease and running out the door. So I kind of got out of the habit of applying inner corner highlights. So even though it doesn't have an inner corner highlight, I personally haven't been missing it as much, but it's still something to keep in mind. But I do think, I never thought I would say this, I do think I like the Ilia palettes a little bit better than the Clove and Hallow because they have more matte shades, and also I find them to be a little bit more long wearing. The Clove and Hallow eyeshadows do tend to leave me a little faster than some other eyeshadows. I've realized that the more and more I've worn these eyeshadows, I've realized they don't last super long on me. The Ilia ones are definitely lasting longer. I also think I like the Ilia a little better because the price point's a little lower than the Aether Beauty. That's one thing to keep in mind as well. The Aether Beauty palettes have quite a steep price point, and I appreciate that the Ilia price point is a little bit lower. Also, the smaller size does make it more compact for traveling, which I'm doing a lot of traveling now. So having things that are kind of travel friendly, travel size, that definitely is something I'm looking for at this point in my life. These are all things to keep in mind, whether they're things that are a concern for you or not, because everyone has a little bit different concerns. I'm just trying to lay out what I see as pluses and minuses, but you know, what might be a plus for me might be a minus for you. It all depends. How does it rank in terms of my Honest Beauty palette? So the Honest Beauty palette has a lot more eyeshadow shades in it. Also has a really big mirror. It's a bit bulky. I don't travel with this just because I find it to be a little bit big. I think the Ilia eyeshadows definitely perform a bit better. The mattes in the Ilia shades are a bit better, which honestly, all things considered, is not that surprising because the price of this one is pretty low. But you do get a good variety of mattes and shimmers, and that's one thing I've always really liked about this palette is you've got a lot to work with and you can get a lot of different eyeshadow looks. I think, like I said, the quality of the Ilia is just a little bit better. This is still a really good palette and still one that I really enjoy and reach for. I think those are the main points of comparison. So I have a hard time saying, oh, you need to run out and buy this eyeshadow palette because there have been so many eyeshadow palettes out there. But if you're interested in one of them, I would say definitely pick it up. Probably you don't need both of them. Go with what you're actually going to use. Go with the shades that speak the most to you. I think they're both beautiful. Like I said, the warm toned eyeshadow palette, the metallics in that one are definitely, you get two very strong metallics in it. And the cool toned palette, one of the metallics is more shimmery than the other. But the shades overall are beautiful. I think they're really great palettes. I think for the price, they're really great. And I'm honestly really impressed and really happy, and that's why I wanted to bring you this review, is to share that with you. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a tutorial of me using the Warm Nude palette and then the Cool Nude palette so you can kind of see how they actually blend and apply on my eyes. Obviously, I'm not going to use all the shades in one eyeshadow look, but I hope that you'll be able to get a good idea for how things are working. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you found it helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also check out my Instagram. My handle's at naturallybeautifulgirl. I'll be posting pictures of the swatches of these palettes on there, and also I have lots of fun content on there, so be sure to check it out. Once again, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!